It is 10:15. I know people are still coming in. We have our audience streaming. Everyone, you can turn to the camera and wave to our folks who are streaming. We have a lot to do in this first section of our annual meeting, so I want to make sure that we get going right on time so we have a chance for everything to get fit in. This is part one of 2 annual meetings that we will have. The other will happen in mid-March. And so let's begin with prayer. God dwells in you. Let us pray. Omnipotente y eterno Dios, fuente de toda sabiduría y entendimiento, hazte presente con los que deliberan por la renovación y misión de tu iglesia. Enséñanos a que en todas las cosas busquemos primeramente tu honor y tu gloria. Guíanos para percibir lo que es justo. Concédenos el valor para buscarlo y la gracia para lograrlo. Por Jesucristo nuestro Señor. Amen. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Welcome if you are new at All Saints or are visiting us this morning and would like to be kept up to date of future events of interest here at All Saints Church. There are green contact sheets near both doors. Please take us a moment just to give us your contact information. Also at the welcome table on the lawn, you can pick up a red welcome bag, which includes a welcome card. You can fill it out and return it. You can fill it out on the spot. It is wonderful to have you here. As we said, it is wonderful to have everyone who is streaming online. For everyone, whether you are in this room or anywhere around the world, your generosity makes a huge difference at All Saints Church. We always say this church is fueled by several things. It is fueled by the grace of God. It is fueled by the energy and passion and gifts of those who gather here and everywhere. And it is fueled by the generous financial contributions of everyone who is part of the All Saints community. And so please, if you have not filled out a pledge card for 2018, we need you to do that. We need you to do that if you're here. You can do that if you are somewhere else in the world. And if you're watching us online, you can press the little donate button on your website and make a gift to All Saints Church. Part of what we're going to hear today is a financial report of this congregation. And we need everyone to chip in to have this congregation continue to thrive as it has for so long in the past. At all times, we put our faith into action at All Saints Church, and every week we choose 1 or 2 things to focus that action. And this week, as Congress begins debating immigration legislation, we call on our representatives to support the DREAM Act or other bipartisan legislation that offers a pathway to citizenship for as many dreamers as possible without compromising family unity or other immigrant populations. We also write to our senators to acknowledge their leadership on this issue in the past, assuring them of our full support as they continue to stand with dreamers. So please stop by the action table over there near the door or the table on the lawn before you leave campus this morning to sign those important letters. It is good to have everyone here at this annual meeting of All Saints Church. I officially call this meeting to order, and I ask Dana Jones, our junior warden, to step forward and lead us in an appreciation of the retiring vestry members. Dana?
Good morning. So we have 7 amazing and tireless vestry members to celebrate today. I want to highlight each one of them for their specific contributions to the life at All Saints. And I want you to know that each of these precious people participated vociferously in vestry deliberations and attended vestry staff conferences where their contributions were numerous and valued. Additionally, these folks were the majority of this year's nominating committee who have given us an amazing slate of people to fill their shoes, and that is a big job. If you're here, please stand when I call your name, and if we can hold the applause until I've read through everybody and all of their amazing work. So first up, we have Karen Alexander, During her time on the vestry, she has served as chair of the Pastoral Care, Healing, and Health Vestry Committee, and also prior was the chair of the Congregational Development Vestry Committee. She is a member of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force and also a member of the Black Women's Affinity Group. Next, we have Lorenzo Vakani. During his time on the vestry, he's been a member of the CYF Vestry Committee, Children, Youth, and Families. He also has been a musician and singer at our homeless memorial service. He is very active in our youth choirs and also Wednesday night youth group. He serves as an acolyte, and he's also participated in various youth service trips, including the trip to Mexico last summer. Next is Hannah Berry. During her time on the vestry, much like Lorenzo, she has been a member of the CYF committee, vestry committee. She also was a member of the 2018 pledging team, helping to make phone calls to everyone in the parish. She's also been active in youth choirs and Wednesday night youth group and serves as an acolyte, and also has participated in many youth service trips, including the trip to Mexico. I think Liza's here, Liza Billington. During her time on the vestry, she was chair of Leadership Vestry Committee. She was also chair and member of the Congregational Development Vestry Committee. She chaired our Alcohol Policy Task Force. She was a member of the Climate Change Task Force and a member of the TLC Events Committee. Thank you. Next is Andy Malloy. During his time on vestry, he has been the chair of the Children, Youth, and Families Vestry Committee and a member of the Children's Ministers Search Committee. Frank Ramirez, I think Frank's here. During his time on vestry, he chaired and has been a member of the Peace and Justice OCC Vestry Committee and a member of the Pastoral Care Committee. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Vanderpool has chaired the Buildings and Grounds Vestry Committee. He's been a member of the Congregational Development Vestry Committee, a member of the Finance Vestry Committee, a member of the Leadership Vestry Committee, a member of the Building Campaign Steering Committee, and a member of the Space Task Force. Please join me in thanking all of these wonderful people for their service. And now I invite our senior warden, Trula Worthy-Clayton, to present the candidates to replace these folks we just retired.
Thank you, Dana, and good morning to everyone. It would be impossible for us to let these people leave without bringing some more in. So I am quickly following with the presentation of the slate that the nominating committee has selected to present to you today. First, I want to thank that committee. Their names are listed on your agenda, and they were a powerful group. I am profoundly grateful for their participation, and we all are indebted to them for their collective commitment to this process. Their deliberation, their prayerful discernment, and their unyielding determination to conclude this process until they were in full, complete agreement, which took every week in November to accomplish. So hence, thanks a million to them. Most of you are already aware of the process that brings a candidate actually to you today. We have a nomination committee that selects the slate. We then have an opportunity for additional nominees to come by method of petition. And then on the last day of April, they will become vestry members. We did not receive any additional nominations this year by petition, so I can start presenting to you your slate that sits before you. I too will ask you to hold your applause because these people are so accomplished, so very magnificent that it's going to take me a while to tell you all about them. So if you'll just wait until the whole slate has been presented, and then I would love for you to give them not only your applause, but your love. First, we have Derek Wan. Derek, will you stand? Derek and his husband, Jim Albarano, began attending All Saints in 2012 and became members the following year. Their son, Levi, was baptized mere months after his 2015 adoption. Derek is a freelance television producer. He has completed the new members class and the adult class, and his additional involvements at All Saints include his faithful commitment to Children's Chapel Sunday School. During his time at All Saints, he has volunteered as a faith partner for youth in the Seekers program and has conducted small groups as a co-leader for the new members class. He's actively involved in International Radio and Television Foundation, and he even implemented a scholarship at the College of New Jersey in order to support undergrad students there. At Pepperdine, he provides mentoring for theater majors, and last year he did 55 such mentoring times. Derek is hopeful his work at All Saints on this vestry will result in the enactment of initiatives which will excite the support of every generation to participate in our mission to empower the inclusive love of God. Thank you, Derek. Next, we have Monique Thomas. Derek, you can sit down. Thank you. I talk a long time, so it's going to take us a while. Monique began attending All Saints 10 years ago and became a member in 2012. She's the program director of Caltech's Center for Diversity, where she develops and coordinates programming and training events for the university's undergrad population. Her All Saints involvement includes a 5-year membership in the Racial Justice Ministry, serving for the last 2 years as the co-chair of that group. Additional leadership responsibilities include functioning as a small group leader for the new members class and a member of the Peace and Justice Vestry Committee. Monique co-authored the All Saints Justice Resolution. Her spare time, and we don't know if she has any, and during that time she promotes the interests of children, those who are foster, those who are incarcerated, and those who find themselves homeless. Monique indicates every day she is here, she is invigorated by this community, and she looks forward to becoming a vestry member. Samantha Harris. Samantha is a junior at Marshall Fundamental School and has been a member of All Saints for her entire life. She's participated in every level of the youth choir program. Her mother and grandmother, Sarah and Elizabeth Tatum, and her father, John Harris, are known to many of you. Samantha is on this campus often. She's a captain of the Acolyte team. She's a member of the video and the photography team. She has completed her Seekers program, participated in youth transformational journeys, and I want you to listen very carefully to this, and has participated in the Not So Bored, B-O-R-E-D, game night. Away from All Saints, she's equally as busy. She's a mentor in the Longfellow Project for children and learning to play the violin, and she's a reading partner on her campus. Samantha is very excited about the expanding role of youth in All Saints and hopes that this level of commitment will continue. Thank you. Next, we have Terry Knowles. Terry and her husband, Marshall Rudder, have spent more than 20 years at All Saints. In 2015, she retired as the CEO of the Los Angeles Master Chorale. She currently provides but she provides consultation services for nonprofit organizations in the areas of board member development, strategic planning, and resource development. Her All Saints involvements include participation in the Rector Search Committee and the Giving Committee. She has also served as the retreat facilitator for the Racial Justice Ministry, and now she co-chairs the Director of Music search process. She's been on a vestry before, and evidently it did not it did not discourage her from accepting this nomination. Terry served as a vestry member at the Cathedral Church of St. Mark's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She commits to each of us that she will bring to this vestry assignment an open mind, a searching intellect, her honesty, her candor, and a heart filled with love for this remarkable place. Steve Williams. A little more than a year ago, Steve, pardon me, and his wife Clara joined All Saints, immediately signed up for the new members class, and became active. Prior to his retirement, Steve was NBC Universal, pardon me. Prior to his retirement, Steve was NBC Universal's Vice President of Administration and Sound Services. His projects included the TV series Law and Order, Criminal Intent, The Book of Eli, and You, Me, and Dupree. He's a member of the Congregational Development Vestry Committee and the Racial Justice Ministry. He has extensive experience in the utilization of small groups in faith communities and is leading a project here to increase the occurrence of such groups in our congregational development undertakings. Steve indicates All Saints' commitment to building a spiritual community that is nurturing for everyone, regardless to where they are in their spiritual journey, speaks to him and functions as his motivation. Christine Hartman. For nearly 6 years, Christine, her spouse Christian, and her daughter Kaylee have been a part of All Saints community. She's the owner, multimedia producer, and lead meeting planner of the Los Angeles-based company Ice Hat Creative. Christine is actively motivated member of the Children, Youth, and Family Vestry Committee and the Parents Culture Group. While at All Saints, she has served as a Seekers Faith Partner, participated on both search and discernment committees, and for more than a year, she has filled a vacated, unexpired vestry position. Each month, Christine travels to Washington, D.C., stands in front of the White House, and makes a courageous one-woman protest. She uses this platform to meet up and speak out. She's brave, she's persistent, and we are so grateful for her witness. Christine indicates this community is an integral part of her family life, and she looks forward to All Saints continuing to actively manifest God's love, sometimes in ways that are challenging, but always in ways that bring us together. Unfortunately, 2 of our members are not present. Dave Moreno is unable to join us, and I'd like to tell you just a little bit about him. Dave and his wife, Jennifer, have been members of All Saints for over 10 years. He's retired from the motion picture industry, having worked in post-production sound at Disney and 20th Century Fox. He was a leading petty officer in the U.S. Navy. David is a member of the 1 o'clock service. He's on the leadership team for that service. In addition, he's a greeter and an usher at that service. Dave does not have enough just serving at 1 o'clock, so he persons the he persons the welcome table also at the 11:15 service. Dave is completing his final year as a EFM, Education for Ministry student. This is the group that has meetings constantly to provide their members a theological education which will support their faith and also show them ways of expressing this faith in their day-to-day lives. And our final candidate is Gray and Gracias. On his biographical information sheet, Gray noted in the area where we asked, how long have you been at All Saints? 15.5 years. And then he crowded in this statement, actually since my birth. His parents, Steve and Sarah, have attended for 20 years, were married at All Saints, and his younger sister sings in the youth choir. He attends La Cañada High School and is involved in filming and often works on independent projects. At All Saints, he also is captain of an acolyte team. He regularly attends Wednesday night group, and he says he has great relationships with church staff. He does, okay. He told me that he's not afraid to work extra, especially on religious projects, and I was ever so pleased to hear that, because the vestry meetings at times go on and on and on. His current outside involvements include producing and directing short films. The final line on Gray's information sheet reads as follows: "This is my favorite place, and I am so excited to make it even better as a member of the vestry." And Gray, you warm my very heart. Rector.
Thank you, Trula. Before I ask for a motion and a second on that slate, I wanted to say, first of all, a little bit about what vestry does. You should know what vestry is before you elect people to do the job. First of all, if you want to see the vestry's work up close, I really encourage you to come to vestry meetings. Vestry meetings are open meetings. They're generally the first Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock in Sweetland Hall. There is always time we have for visitor comments at the end, and I know some of you in this room have come and visited. Come and check it out. The vestry has three primary purposes. The first is to share in the spiritual leadership of the congregation. The second is to share in the development of the mission and ministry, and saying this is who we believe God is calling us to be about, the mission and ministry of the congregation. And also the third is to assure the fiduciary, to provide fiduciary oversight for the congregation. Trula made reference to the fact that sometimes meetings get a bit lengthy. And part of that is because we take that responsibility seriously, and we have creative conversations, and we put everything on the table, and we wrestle with issues. This is not a rubber stamp vestry. It really is an incredibly talented group, as you have heard, that wrestles with what it means to be the church today. And so I am deeply grateful both for those who have served their terms on this vestry and for those who are stepping up to serve an additional term. And so I would ask from you all, is there a motion to accept this slate of vestry members? Is there a second? Can we elect by acclamation? Yes. so moved, and thank you all, and I am so looking forward to working together with all of you. A couple more items on the agenda. I get to now announce the wardens for 2018, and to tell you that the wardens are just an incredible source of leadership and wisdom, not just for me, for the vestry, but for the entire congregation. This year we have had two extraordinary wardens who will continue to serve, as you heard, until the end of April. Our junior warden, Dana Jones. Dana, you have been just a phenomenal resource, a phenomenal heart. As someone who struggles with keeping the trains running on time in all sorts of areas of life, Dana, you are someone who just absolutely keeps that going, helps keep us focused, keeps us really understanding all the different things it takes to keep this place running, and does it with joy and a faithful heart. And then as a senior warden, I don't know if I had to say, Trula, the wisdom that you bring, the heart that you bring, the compassion and passion that you bring, the sense that God has got this and it's all going to be okay, that you bring when we're in our more challenging moments. For my first full year here as rector of All Saints Church, I cannot imagine a better partner in ministry than we have had in you as senior warden. And so I would ask if the two of you could please stand and we could express our appreciation. And now we have wardens for 2018, and the gift that we have this year is neither one of these two are actually going off the vestry, so we continue to get their gifts and their wisdom with us, and one of them is sticking around, and we're really blessed that, let me tell you first of all, the senior warden is chosen by the rector, and the junior warden is chosen by the vestry, and I'll let you know who the senior warden is going to be in a second, but the vestry decided that Dana had done such an amazing job as junior warden, they wanted her to re-up for another year. And so Dana has agreed to do that. And so we're incredibly grateful for that. And I am thrilled to announce that your senior warden for the coming year, starting on May 1st, is going to be Mary Ann Ahart. There she is. And I got to know Mary Ann on the search committee, and I was pleased with their decision. And one of the things I learned about Mary Ann really quickly, well, two things. First of all is that she has a heart as big as this planet. And secondly, she is just one of the best systems thinkers that I have ever met in my life. And especially as we are going through a time of change and transition. The leadership that she has already been providing has been phenomenal, and so I am thrilled to be able to go into this next year with these two amazing wardens and this amazing vestry. And I also just want to take a moment, and over here we have many members of our staff. I know that most of you are aware, but it bears saying, I don't think I have ever been around a group of people who work as hard and give themselves so devotedly to the life and mission of a congregation as we have with this staff here at All Saints Church. It is such a deep honor to work with all of you. You have been amazingly patient with this rookie rector, and you're going to need to continue to be patient with me. And it is a joy working with you, and I am grateful that in coming into this community, I was given a staff that is as faithful and as hardworking and as truth-telling as you all are. And so can you please, and there's others who are not here, can you please just give a round of applause to thank our staff. And then my final piece before I hand it over is our election of 2018 Diocesan Convention delegates. You may have heard that we are an Episcopal church. And part of that means that we're part of the Episcopal Diocese of Los Angeles. And the great thing about that is it means that we are connected beyond our four walls in the diocese, and from the diocese to a national church, and from a national church to a worldwide Anglican communion. And that means what happens here has these ripple effects of grace in this entire global communion. And part of how we embody that is we send representatives every year to a diocesan convention where there are clergy and lay representatives from every congregation in this diocese. That usually happens the first weekend of December. And we have delegates and alternates that are listed in alphabetical order: Marianne Ahart, Scott England, Christine Hartman, could you stand as I say your name if you are here? Gracias, Dana Jones, Dave Moreno, Flor Quintanilla, Jonathan Stoner, Edna Trigg, Jim White, and Risa Worthy-Deemer. They're going to represent us along with our clergy staff representatives at the Diocesan Convention and make sure that the good news of All Saints Church has seismic effects. And I know here in California, you all know what that means, throughout the diocese in ways that are really going to be spectacular. I would ask someone to move this slate of candidates. Is there a second? Once again, can we elect by acclamation? Thank you. And now I want to turn things over to Chris Caldwell. He is the chair of our Finance Committee. Chris has served faithfully, will continue to serve faithfully, I am praying, as our finance chair. He's going to let you know about the last year and also the year to come at All Saints Church. And I am deeply grateful for his work. I'm deeply grateful for the financial staff work: Christina Honchel, Roxy Bates, Zach Dejanette. Am I forgetting anyone else? Oh, Jim, of course. Jim, I'm looking right at you, Jim Laduha. So many people who really help us be excellent stewards of the finances of this congregation. We have a phenomenal finance committee, and it really is an incredible amount of work, and it is a huge team that does it remarkably well. So could you please welcome Chris Caldwell.
Good morning. This is the fourth year I've had the honor and pleasure of speaking with you about the work of the vestry and the Finance Committee in managing the investment and expenditure of the funds that all of you so generously entrust to this church. As I get started, I'd like to ask the members of the Finance Committee who are here this morning to raise their hands. I see it. And they deserve a hand from all of you as thanks for their hard work. We had a meeting just 3 days ago, and like all of our meetings, they start at 7 a.m. So finance is an early rising and hardworking crew. And I think we have a new member. And as vocal as the other members, I'll let you know. In each of my last 3 annual reports, I've started my remarks with good news, and I'm able to do so again this year. We are a financially healthy church. We are fiscally responsible, we live within our means, and we are debt-free. These are guiding principles for the Finance Committee as it makes its recommendations to the vestry. As I'll explain in greater detail in a few minutes, that good news is tempered this year with a sobering reality. While we are a financially healthy and stable church, we also face significant challenges as we attempt to finalize our budget for 2018. We project that our income will be down in 2018 and our expenses will be up. If we continue with our commitment to living within our means, we will have some very difficult choices to make in the coming weeks before the vestry approves a budget for 2018. If we do not receive significant dollars in new or increased pledges beyond what we currently project, we will be looking at staff reductions and programming cuts in the coming year. Before I talk about the challenges of the 2018 budget in detail, however, let me talk about the successes of 2017. In doing so, I'll be talking about our 2017 financial statements that you have in your seat today. The 2017 financial statements show that it was another debt-free year for the church. This church is committed to the principle that we don't spend more money than we have. Our budget process begins with and is built around our primary source of support, which is your pledges. Over 3/4 of our income last year came from our pledges, so projected income is the cornerstone of our budget process. What we saw in 2017 is consistent with what we have seen for many years. The vast majority of people who commit to giving, in fact, fulfill their pledges. In 2017, we collected over 95% of the pledges that were made. I can't emphasize enough the importance to our fiscal health of this high rate of pledge fulfillment, nor can I thank you enough for your generosity. The actual shortfall between what we projected that we would receive in pledges and what we actually received was about $80,000. And I'll say a chunk of that $80,000 we then collected in January of this year. Most of the rest of our projected income from other items came in almost exactly on the mark. For example, we budgeted $170,000 for the open plate offering, what you put in the plate on Sunday morning, and our actual open plate collections were $173,000, $193,000. The one income item where we missed the mark this past year was building usage, which comes primarily from income from film shoots here on the campus. Based on prior year's experience, we had anticipated $60,000 in building rental income, but we collected only just a little bit over $30,000. At my remarks every year, I ask those of you who work in the entertainment industry to keep producing shows with lots of scenes in Gothic churches, but I guess we can all agree we didn't have enough God on TV last year. The other income item that I want to highlight on the financial statements is transfers from restricted line item. That number is $232,000. The great bulk of that number, $227,000 of the $232, represents money that we carried over into 2017 from 2016 because we had a budget surplus at the end of 2016. We had that surplus at the end of 2016 of about $320,000 because our expenses were lower than projected, primarily because we had open staff positions in 2016, including an open rector position for much of that year. So in order to have money to pay our projected expenses in 2017, we took the bulk of the 2016 surplus and used it to pay expenses in 2017. Overall, our total income in 2017 was $5,213,000 in change, which was $78,000 less than we had projected at the beginning of the year when we adopted our budget. While $78,000 is a lot of money, it's only 1.5% of the total income we had projected for the year. Stated differently, we collected 98.5% of the money we had budgeted for. Coming within 1.5% of budget shows that we have a very accurate and reliable revenue projection method. Any organization, whether a for-profit business or a not-for-profit entity, would be justifiably proud of such accurate financial planning. And to be clear, I'm not patting myself or the Finance Committee on the back. We are able to do our work only because of the great work done by this church's great administrative and giving staffs, led by Christina Honchel and Jim LaDuha. On the mission side, or the expense side, using the accounting term, we came in under budget by over $305,000, $305,317. As you'll recall, I said that we carried $227,000 over from 2016, which is less than the $305,000 that we were under budget in 2017. What that means is, even without the carryover funds from 2016, we finished 2017 in the black. In other words, we collected more money than we spent in 2017 by about $80,000. If you look at the last column on the far right side of the 2017 budget financial statement, it's on page 5 of your handout, you can see exactly why we spent $305,000 less than what we budgeted for. That savings came from one line item. It's the personnel line item. It's about a third of the way down. Our personnel expenses were $307,481 less than what we had budgeted, which is almost exactly matching the $305,317 that we came in under budget. Now, while I'm thrilled that we finished 2017 in the black, achieving that goal by saving money on personnel is actually not something to celebrate. We have an incredible staff. They all work very hard. Last year was the second year in a row where we had very significant savings on the personnel line item because we had open positions during the year. While these open staff positions are great for the budget, they take a real toll on our staff, particularly when we are understaffed for 2 years in a row. The amount of work to be done, the number of sick parishioners to be visited, the number of services to be held, and the number of vestry committee meetings to attend does not decrease just because we have fewer hands to do the work. So we got through the year, and from a budget perspective, we finished with a healthy margin, but at a great cost to our staff. I want them to hear, again, that we recognize the burden we placed on them and appreciate the great job they were doing. So can we please give them another hand? Thanks. Now, while the great bulk of our savings was on personnel expenses, this is not the only expense that came in under budget. And I would like to talk about one other under budget expense that, while it's only a relatively small amount of money in our budget, is important and is a cause for celebration. Our spending on electricity in 2017 was about $10,000 less than it was in 2016. We saved nearly $1,000 per month on our electric bill. That decrease is attributable to energy-efficient lighting and other energy-saving measures that we were able to install throughout the church campus, thanks to the generosity of an anonymous donor. That donor understands that global warming is one of the greatest threats facing us today, if not the greatest threat, and he felt that the church needed to take immediate steps to reduce its carbon footprint. We should celebrate our reduced electrical use as an important step towards achieving carbon neutrality. And I'm not going to blow his anonymity or her anonymity, but that donor is in the room today, and can we please express our appreciation for their generosity. So here are the key summary figures for 2017. Compared to 2016, our revenues were down by about 1.2%. Because of many months of unfilled clergy and staff positions in 2017, our expenses were also down from 2017 to 2016 by almost exactly 1%. And at the end of 2017, the amount of unspent funds was, as I noted, over $305,000. Now that brings me to the sobering news, which is the 2018 budget, which is not yet final. As I explained before, the first step in building a budget is projecting our pledge income for the year, because our pledges are the cornerstone of our budget. I can easily summarize where we are on pledges for 2018. We have many reasons to be thankful, but we are still a long ways from where we need to be in order to meet our needs for the coming year. We should be thankful because as of last Tuesday night, we had received pledges totaling $3,526,822. For those of you who renewed your pledges from the prior year, we had an average 2% pledge increase. We also should be thankful because many of you prepaid your 2018 pledges at the end of 2017. So we started this year with over $500,000 of pledge income in the bank. This may be one of the only positive things I can say about our president's so-called tax reform package, because I think it caused many people to be uncertain about their ability to deduct donations to the church in 2018, so they wrote their checks at the end of last year. Now, the not so good news about our 2018 pledges is twofold. First, there are 227 people who pledged in 2017 who have not yet renewed their pledges and who we hope and expect will renew. These outstanding pledge renewals total over $350,000. Second, there are 55 people who pledged in 2017 who we now know for a fact will not be renewing their pledges in 2018. These lost pledges total nearly $125,000. These non-renewals occur for a number of reasons, including that people die, and not much we can do about that one. They move, or their personal financial situations change. So if you've not yet renewed your pledge, and you're still alive, and you're here, or you're watching live streaming today, I encourage you, in fact, I beg you, to please renew your pledge now. Because if we don't have a significant uptick in pledge income, we're going to be making some very tough choices. Those tough choices are upon us even though we are still in the process of finalizing the church's projected expenses for 2018. We are far enough along in the 2018 budget process to know that balancing the 2018 budget is going to be extremely difficult. Our health insurance costs for 2018 are up by 10%, which is roughly $50,000 if we're fully staffed. Our workers' compensation insurance premiums are up by 30%. It's going to cost us another $30,000. On top of those increases, we would like to fill an open clergy position, pay a fair wage to all our staff, and support our ongoing programming. With projections of reduced pledge income and reduced pledge income and increased expenses, we currently are looking at a budget shortfall of over $550,000 in 2018. Even if we were to put all of the $305,000 surplus from 2017 into 2018, we would still be $250,000 short. And we would far prefer to take some of that surplus and save it for a rainy day fund. Because as I have explained every year as I stand up here, we do not budget for deferred maintenance. And it does rain and our roof does leak. So once again, if you haven't renewed for 2018, or if you have room in your heart and your wallet to increase a pledge that you have already made, I again ask you to do so. Now is the time, as we will be finalizing the 2018 budget in the next month. In closing, let me state that as chair of the Finance Committee, I will not recommend that the vestry approve a budget that fills our shortfall by living beyond our means. But the alternative will necessitate some very painful decisions, including leaving staff positions open and even laying off staff if we do not receive new or increased pledge support significantly beyond what we are projecting. Although the challenges are real, I do not want to be alarmist. I know that we will live within our means and that we will be a vibrant, prophetic faith community even if we have to figure out how to do more with less. Even in the face of these challenges, we must remember that we have so much to be thankful for. We have an incredibly generous congregation and the inspired leadership of our rector and staff. We will not just endure in the face of the current fiscal challenges, but we will rise to the occasion and we will thrive as we fulfill our mission of making God's love tangible through community, spirituality, and peace and justice. We are truly blessed.